Hi class, I'm Amy Brody, and today I'm going to be teaching you a lesson on Jean Piaget. He was a Swiss psychologist who lived between 1896 and 1980. He had a very impactful and productive 84 years of life. He was known for his work on childhood development. He was also an author of more than 50 books and monographs over his long career. What an accomplishment! Some of his books include The Psychology of the Child, written in 1966, The Psychology of Intelligence, which was published in 1947, and The Language and Thought of the Child, published in 1923. Piaget continued to develop the theme he had first discovered in Paris, that the mind of the child evolves through a series of set stages to adulthood. Piaget won the Balzan Prize for Social and Political Sciences in 1979. This prize is awarded to scholars and scientists who are distinguished on an international level. One critical observation that Piaget noticed was that young children consistently made the type of mistakes that older children and adults did not. This led him to the theory that young children's processes are inherently different from those of adults. While discussing his works, there are two terms I would like to define, which I will be using throughout this lesson. The first one is psychology, which is the study of cognition, motivation, emotion, perception, and behavior. And the second term is schema, which can be defined as a set of linked mental representations of the world, which we use both to understand and to respond to situations. The four development stages are described in Piaget's theory. The first one is the sensory motor stage, which is from birth to age 2. This explains how children experience their world through movement and their senses. During this stage, children are extremely egocentric, meaning they cannot perceive the world from others' viewpoints. This first stage, the sensory motor stage, is then divided into 6 substages, and I'm going to explain those 6 substages, and then I'm going to go back to the second, third, and fourth development stages. So the first of the substages is the simple reflexes. This occurs from birth to 1 month old. At this time, infants use reflexes such as rooting and sucking. The second substage is first habits and primary circular reactions. This occurs from 1 month to 4 months old. During this time, infants learn to coordinate sensation and 2 types of schema, habit and circular reactions. A primary circular reaction is when the infant tries to reproduce an event that happens by accident. An example is sucking their thumb. So they might have their thumb near their mouth and they start sucking it, and then they want to recreate that. The third substage is the secondary circular reaction. This occurs from 4 to 8 months old. At this time, they become aware of things beyond their own body. They are more object-oriented. Also, they may shake a rattle and continue to do it for sake of satisfaction. The fourth one is coordination of secondary circular reactions. This occurs from 8 to 12 months old. During this stage, they can do things intentionally. They can now combine and recombine schemata and try to reach a goal. Example would be to use a stick to reach something. They begin to understand object permanence. Objects continue to exist even when they can't see them. For example, they might leave their bedroom and realize that the objects around their room are going to stay there while they are not in their room. The fifth one is tertiary circular reactions, novelty, and curiosity. This occurs from 12 months to 18 months old. During this stage, infants explore new possibilities of objects. They try different things to get different results. And the last one is internalization of schemata. In this stage, infants construct an understanding of the world by internalization of schemas. The best way to describe this stage is by way of an example. For instance, most people in industrialized nations have a schema for what a car is. Another example might be your schema for your friend, which may include her appearance, her behaviors, her personality, and her preferences, her likes and dislikes. Social schemas include general knowledge about how people behave in certain social situations. And now I'm going to go back and discuss the second, third, and fourth development stages. So the second one is the pre-operational stage. This occurs from toddlerhood through childhood, or 18 to 24 months through age 7. The third one is the concrete stage, which is ages 7 to 12 years old. The fourth one, and the final one, which is the formal operational, adolescence through adulthood. In conclusion, I really appreciate some of Jean Piaget's quotes, some of which are very expressive, while others seem coarse and sarcastic, but very compelling nonetheless. Here are some. Scientific knowledge is in perpetual evolution. It finds itself changed from one day to the next. Another one is to express the same idea in still another way. I think that human knowledge is essentially active. And intelligence is what you use when you don't know what to do, when neither innateness nor learning has prepared you for the particular situation. And lastly, the goal of education is not to increase the amount of knowledge, but to create the possibilities for a child to invent and discover, to create men who are capable of doing new things. I appreciate your time, and I hope that you learned a lot about Jean Piaget.